All right. Hello, everybody. This is Jiaming here from 11 Koi, and I will be presenting on the global awareness, more like an overview, and also a guide towards how to complete the batch work. Because I think many of us are definitely new to this topic itself. Sort of a revamp between like citizenship and that kind of things. Okay, but it's also for something for us to learn about, and also to hear a bit of how we can actually tackle this batch work altogether. And also this stack of slides were actually brought together with some of the shared experiences from the pilot company, and just to have a better sensing and also a better way to complete this batch work itself. Okay, so let me now share my screen. Yeah, so I think, so sorry everybody, so just bear with me throughout this session itself. I hope that it will be meaningful for everybody, but also at the same time, for those who have completed the stage 3 assessment the master level for global awareness, I think maybe it could be something that you can pick it up also, or maybe as you know, we can share in the Q&A for tips and tricks also. We all can learn together as well. Okay, so I will just continue to present. Yeah, so this is the content for today, just 4 points, but can be a bit lengthy. These are 4 things. So one is the overview of the global awareness batch work itself. The second one, where to find the BBHQ resources. And also lastly, thirdly, the suggested guide to the advanced and the master level. And also fourth is the revised rubrics for the master level assessment. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the overviews for the GA requirements are these. So as for basic, when the committee came together, we agreed that we will go through a minimum of 2 out of 13 topics chosen by HQ. So later on, I will also share where you can find these resources. So there are 13 topics for all of us to choose, for example, like education, about poverty, about literacy, and things like that. And then going through the content that BBHQ has given, and then thereafter to complete some reflections, so that we can allow the boys to actually get them thinking about these issues that are really happening around the world. The second one, which is the advanced level, which is the complete 3 keystone modules, which are these 3 things: global relation, social entrepreneurship, and research skills itself. These are still lessons so that the boys can be prepared to conquer the master level thereafter. So not only the advanced level consists of the teaching the lessons part, but they also would kickstart some of the research process itself. So what they need to do is they were to choose 1 out of 13 topics to research on, for example, like education. And then thereafter, they will come up with an internal presentation or write-up, whereby the officers will go through them and also to see how to further improve it for the master level. And when it comes to the master level, it's similar. It's the same thing to choose 1 out of 13 topics, to carry out a social entrepreneurship project, to have some action plans to solve the problems of the topic itself. And then, so it's to submit a form, a presentation form, not just PPT alone, any form of presentation, for example, a video or a research paper, or even like a deck of PowerPoint slides to HQ, so that they will assess accordingly to the HQ provided rubrics, which will be shared later on. So this one, the last part, is not just PowerPoint. It's not strictly to PowerPoint. It's any form of, which is any form of presentation mode, that one can, that the boys can creatively showcase their project itself. Okay, so the second part, where to find the BBHQ resources. This is, I'll just quickly breeze through this, because it will be seen in the Google Drive. So this is just more of a guide of where you can find the specific lessons and whatnot. So of course, in the Google Drive itself, there will be these 4 core core lessons in the whole SP program itself. So global awareness lessons. Then thereafter, it will split to basic, advanced, and master. And then with that, for basic, I'm just going to go through a bit. Yeah, so for basic, you just have the global issues and also the slides. And then they will see like, these are some of the topics that the officers may choose, or even you may allow the boys to see what is best for them as well. Maybe the boys are interested in the pollution or climate change or whatnot. Maybe that's for them to decide as well. Yeah, these are just the videos for the lessons themselves. Yeah, so this is where the reflection question comes in. And I think it is helpful, for the boys to actually have some time to think about these things that are really happening around the world itself. So we just use this very simple reflection model itself. What, so what, and now what. What is more of a description to hear about what they have to learn, for them to write down what they have to learn. So what is more towards of how does what I have learned today change my thinking about this topic? Maybe they are more aware of what's really happening around the world, or maybe they are a bit more affected by such matters that are really happening. And maybe the last one is now what? What are the kind of actions that they can take that they can take on to make the difference itself? So these are some reflection questions, that the boys can actually do, and then for them to really understand what these topics are about, and not just to breeze through the content and that's about it. But for them to just give them a platform for them to think, for them to reflect, for them to have that deeper learning experience itself. So this is for advanced. Same thing. I'm just going to go through. So these are the 3 lessons: global relations, research skills, and social entrepreneurship. Okay, global relations. This is the research skills. And then this is social entrepreneurship. Yeah, and then the master one is a bit more specific to see what are the steps that you can actually take to do the project itself. Okay, so this comes to the meatier part of the presentation. It's really the suggested guide for the advanced and master level. I think for the pilot companies who have taken this on, it is quite a challenge, but yeah, at the same time, to me, when I was going through with my boys, I find it quite surprising that my boys could take such materials, and I'm quite proud that they actually came up with something that is that is quite substantial. And this is a guide that the committee has came up with, to allow all the officers here to see how you can facilitate for the advanced and the master level. So just again, a reminder that the advanced, whatever you do in the advanced level itself, it is eventually a stepping stone towards completing the master level to BBHQ itself. Okay, so how to clear for the global awareness advanced level? So firstly, definitely is to clear the advanced lessons, which are these 3 things that I talked about just now. And then secondly, it is this is the part that requires a bit more work. Okay, it is to facilitate an exercise with the boys, to practice their writing, their research, and their presentation skills. So what we can suggest over to the BB companies is these things. Okay, select one out of 13 topics, or maybe you can choose. Sorry, let me rephrase. Okay, so the boys can actually choose one out of the 2 topics that they have been through in the basic level itself. Or if the boys are adventurous, they can choose a topic that they have that they are super interested in, that may not be the 2 topics that you all have taught them during the basic level itself. It's for the boys to explore if they are passionate about, for example, if the company has taught about poverty and pollution, but then afterwards the boys are passionate about education. Based on the company's comfort level, you can allow them to do so as well. Okay, present some sample questions to ask how the boys can engage deeper in the research process. And these are the questions that I will show later on, which will help you to see how can you ask these questions, for them to think a bit deeper, for them to find very practical means to the solutions that they can come up with. Okay, and maybe this is just something that would help them to understand a bit better, which is for them to for each question, which I'll show later on, to have a 200 or 300 words write up per question, or even to prepare a presentation slide that eventually is for them to showcase about what they have done and also what they can present over to the officers, and also maybe for the officers to see what is lacking, or what are some things that can be done better for their boys. And of course, this is whatever there is in the advanced level, it is really for preparation for the master level assessment itself. Okay. So this is the guide that we have came up with. Okay, and this is the first question that helps the boys to really narrow down what do they want to focus on. So which is the community in which you want to focus on and why. For them to be as specific as you can, so that it can help narrow down the scope. For example, we don't just give the boys to choose a country and then that's it. There are some questions that I will put across. For example, like country. Okay, for example, if I want to choose a country, I will choose maybe Thailand, for example, or maybe I can choose South African nations, or even I can choose the China itself. Okay, but from then on, okay, from the country itself, we go a lot narrower, is to see what community do we want to target, what community that we want to learn about, and definitely it can branch out to a lot more areas that you can focus on. For example, the low income families, or even the rural areas of a certain country, or even the cityscape of a certain country itself. You can go quite deep, but yet focus at the same time. Or even like families with a single parent, things like that. How do you help this community itself? And lastly, it is the issues and the environment and the conditions that this particular community is facing. For example, if it's the rural areas of Thailand, what kind of resources do they have? What kind of education reach do they have? That's and also in the nationwide level, right? How does the ministry, how does the government decisions actually affect this group of people as well? So it really helps you to focus a lot deeper to just a specific community within the country. And I think that's where it is a lot easier to also find your research materials as well. Okay. And one suggestion that maybe I can put across to all officers here, and all teachers here, who can also help the boys to choose a topic that is very relatable to them. For example, maybe you can choose a topic like education, and maybe compare about how our boys here in Singapore, have done their education in this period of time versus other countries itself, and things like that. Okay, so this is which I will give you an example. For example, topic of education is the one that, for example, my boys want to focus on, and then that's where I will zoom in a lot deeper. Like learning in the midst of COVID-19. that is something that there is an example that maybe our boys can relate to, with our boys having their HBL, with their mobile devices, with their PLD, things like that maybe they can hey, if we are like that in Singapore, how about the other countries? And the community, another one deeper example, the rural areas of Thailand, and notably the rural areas of Thailand may not be very well off, as compared to the city dwellers. So these are the lower income families as well. And then maybe what is the reason why I want to target this community? Because they have challenges in their learning due to their technological limitations or their school resources, or even the fear of the pandemic. So you see, when you narrow down the scope to this level, it helps you to see the different things that you can already focus on. Some key things, like for example, rural area of Thailand, lower income families. Then from lower income families, you already can start thinking about how do they manage their learning at home? How do they manage how many devices do they even have at home? And things like that really gets the boy thinking. And also, I think at the same time, it also gets the boy to have a better view of have a better global view of what's happening around them as well, and not just within their own bubble. Okay, so this is the first question. Which is the community that you want to focus on? Why? The second is this. know, what is the background of the country, of the community that you have selected, and this is where the research skills come into play. Okay, so the boys can search on the websites of like maybe the government websites or UN websites or reputable news articles and sources. No, not Wikipedia. Okay, not Wikipedia, not like onion.news or whatever nonsense that is. Yeah, but really news sources that are reputable. Okay, and with that, these news sources can actually highlight the struggles of this community that the struggles that the community is currently facing. You know, and I think that also helps the boy to understand, or maybe to build a bit of empathy towards them as well. And also to have a balanced number of sources, you know, for both the background of the country and also the selected community. So it's quite holistic. You cover quite a holistic view of the situation itself, because we know that whatever the government says, whatever the ministry says, it will eventually affect this group of people as well. So that is the background of the country. But yet at the same time, you know, when we go a bit more to the ground level, we will see how the rural communities are actually coping from their day-to-day lives. So we want to have a good balance of resources to highlight these two things equally. Okay. The third one is this. No, then that's where your solutions come in. You have understood, the boys have researched and understand the topic a lot better, the country, the environment, and things like that. And then that's where the solutions come in. The solutions are really very, very diverse in terms of how you really want to help this community or so. Okay, and these are some suggestions that we brought about. One is to have a partnership with external organizations. And these are things that maybe these are existing organizations that are already in the country or near to the community itself. You know, for example, like maybe like community centers, that kind of thing, or even like foreign organizations that will help these students learn better, or maybe to provide more resources. Another one, you know, maybe a bit more radical in that sense, or is to propose a model that from other countries that may work in this particular community itself. You know, for example, the HBL thing. You know, would the HBL work in the rural parts of a nation, for example? You know, it could be a yes, it could be a no. We don't know. You know, and that's where I think it is a good opportunity for boys also to compare what they are experiencing now, you know, versus can it really be implemented elsewhere, or are we just unique, or are we just so blessed to have so much resources in Singapore itself? You know, it gets them thinking, and I think they would appreciate a lot better. You know, so these are some examples, like the community centers that I've mentioned, to have a gathering ground for schools to utilize. You know, if the community cannot really have a place to, sorry, let me rephrase that. So for example, if the community centers can be used a place, a gathering ground, so that maybe teachers can go there to do tutoring in the midst of all the COVID things itself. And maybe group learning in houses, and where the teachers can head over for tutoring. You know, things like this. If the countries themselves are having technological constraints, maybe what is the best to go? Maybe it's for the teacher to head down to the houses to teach them. I don't know, it's just an idea. And of course, that's where it comes to question 4. Okay, so question 4 is more of the when the tire meets the road. So it is really for the boys to assess how sustainable these proposed solutions are, and can they last for 2 or 3 years time frame. You know, and this is for the boys to have the opportunity to explain these proposed solutions, whether are they able to help the community in terms of the reviewed issue that was previously researched on. So it's not just for the boys to like, just send a teacher there, then that's it already. It's for them to go a lot deeper to see whether is it really feasible, and also what are some of the benefits and challenges that may arise from these proposed solutions. Like for example, like in Singapore, we have like currently we have group of 5 packs. That's the max. Maybe we take that kind of concept over to the rural parts, where the teachers go over to teach a group of 5 packs. You know, sounds sustainable, maybe not. it will tire out the teacher. I don't know, but tutoring is a very effective means and things like that. So it's for the boys to throw out the pros and cons, and also they could even have a mini debate within themselves. And also the last one is what are the costs and variables that are needed to be considered when implementing the solutions. I think this helps the boys to see that the solutions can be quite tough to implement at times, and there are a lot of considerations. Or even and I think these are things that really hit us a lot, especially when maybe a lot of us are in the working world. Wow, the manpower costs lah, the time frame that needs to be done lah, the resources lah, the cost and all these things. Get your boys exposed to these things, so that they can really see the reality of the reality is one thing, but I think also the difficulty, the challenges of the real world as well. Not just to say, oh, send a teacher lah, and that's it, problem solved. It's a lot more to that. Yeah, so these are the 4 questions that are a guide for all of us to try, for all of us to see how to complete this advanced level. And again, I emphasize that whatever you do in the advanced level eventually leads on to the master level itself. Okay, so the suggested guide to the master level. Okay, so what the master level need to do, again, it is to apply the research skills and then have a presentation itself. Okay, again, presentation may not be just a deck of slides. It can be video form. It can be a voiceover. It can be a blog. It can be a research paper. Things like that. It's flexible for the boys to be creative, and maybe the best way for them to express themselves. So again, it's a similar exercise from the advanced level. Not just that they have to come up with an end product itself. And the format can be used, the 4 questions that I've mentioned just now, the format can be used to prepare for presentation to show the community that they have chosen, and also the topic to explore. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to give you an example of a example of an outline of a project. Okay, so the introduction, then the research of the country's issue, proposing a solution, and then the conclusion. So these are in line with the suggested guide itself. So firstly, the question is this: which country or community have I chosen? So I would think I want to focus on Singapore, okay, and I want to focus on the low-income families in rental flats. And these are real things that are around us. And what issues do I want to focus on? Maybe about having the issues of having fresh food as their daily necessities, rather than always having canned food, rather than always having food, or rather than just having tapao food, and that kind of thing. Fresh food you cook, maybe cheaper as well, maybe more friendly to the wallet as well. Okay, so that's where we touch on the research for the country's issue. Know that we can dwell into like government statistics, or maybe like some interviews that has been recorded online. Okay, things like that. And then the background of the people. One example, you can also find documents, or you can find like articles whereby interviews have been done, or even pictures of how these homes look like, and also like articles that social workers have written about lah. Okay, proposing a solution. So these are real organizations lah. So partnering with an organization, and why was this organization chosen? For the social workers organization beyond social services, SG Food Rescue and My Mana. So just to give you a bit of insight, okay, SG Food Rescue is it's an organization. It's a small community which actually goes around Singapore to pick the quote unquote ugly vegetables, but they are still edible, they are still fresh, and then they will gather all these things and actually give it out to those in need lah. And My Mana is a social enterprise also, for them to what they do to help the low income family is actually to give out coupons to ask them to specifically buy their daily necessities, things like that. Okay, and also to work out a solution. Why is it best to tackle the country's situation? It is for opening up more fresh food options for the low income families in the rental flat. Now afterwards, the conclusion itself, it is just to show them, to explain how this program will be best fitted for a solution, for them to explain for them to show their pros and cons, for them to do their risk assessment. Okay. Okay, so this is where I would share the revised rubrics, for the master level assessment. And the committee has came together to see what's best, to refine and also to be more specific in terms of how we can assess the boys accordingly. So this is what we have came up with. So the scoring is still similar. So in 0, 1 to 2. Okay, 0 means no score lah. Okay, 1 means okay, but 2 means it's good lah. Okay, and these are the 4 questions that are here. Okay, the first one, how well was the research done to provide clear and concise understanding of the selected topic on the background of the community? So this question is, this part of the rubric, the first one, is really to tackle, it's really for the boys to show how well have they done their research, what are the skills that they have, the research skills that they can show in their own presentation itself. Second one, how well does the solution fit and help the community on the selected topic? It is for them, is maybe for us to see, how well these ideas can be integrated. Maybe something not so far-fetched lah. And I think that is something that the officers can guide the boys along the way. Okay. The third one, sustainability, about the given solution to help the selected community. We just give a rough estimate of 2 to 3 years commitment. And the last one is that how well did the group weigh the pros and cons of the proposed solution as well. So again, these 4 questions are somewhat in reflection of the suggested guide, for the boys to think about, for the boys to bring about a more holistic presentation. And lastly, the passing mark would be the passing mark would be a 6 lah, and there is something that we want to keep in that sense. So I think passing mark probably will be a 1, 1, 2, 2, which will score a 6 lah. And we want boys to produce good content, and we also want boys to have a good experience in going through this assessment as well. Okay, so now I'm actually going to share a sample from what we have gained from last year's master level assessment. So last year was the first time that I think the pilot companies actually submitted their projects over to HQ, and this was one of them. So I'm going to share with you all how a master level presentation look like in that sense. Okay, so the topic for this one is ensuring education reach to Thai students, in the rural province of COVID-19. So yeah, let me drink a sip of water. Yeah, so this is the topic itself. Okay, and see very similarly how we focus in question 1. How do we focus on the community that we want to focus on? So 1, the topic is education. Second, the country is Thailand itself. Okay, third, the community that we want to focus on is the students in the rural provinces, and also the reasons why we want to see how this group of people study during the COVID-19 pandemic itself. So these are things that maybe boys are more are able to relate to because they themselves are affected. Okay, so these are table of content. What are the insights of the Thai education system with COVID-19, the issues that the students face, and also how do you build up the educational reach towards these communities, and also the conclusions to the solutions itself. Okay, so this project itself, I think the boys went to research, okay, and went to see, how just a very, very quick example of how many years do the Thai citizen, an average Thai citizen take, 7 to 12 years time. 7 to 12 years of education helps with their functional skills, and also help with their understanding of the different topics that are taught. But at the same time, if you compare them to a global scale, they are quite lacking behind. Second point, unequal resources that are distributed across the nation, whereby the city schools are actually the ones who are a lot more wealthier, and also more resources are pumped in. Whereas for the smaller schools, right, it can be quite run down, or even like the teachers that are sent over there are of quote unquote lower quality lah. Okay, So there are disparities between the achievement and standard of these students from the urban and the rural provinces. So this page itself already gives you a picture of how the rural Thai students are facing. So the years of education, unequal resources to them, and also the disparity of standards. Okay, so when all these things, when COVID-19 comes in, okay, and that is where a lot of schools are forced to close down, very similar to ours at that period of time. And then that's where the Thai government put down their distance learning. That's what they call it. They have to continue lessons online, and it is a challenge to a lot of people. So what the education minister do, what he did was that he had a televised curriculum to be taught across the nation. Maybe he thought that was something that is you can really have the greatest reach throughout people. Maybe he thought that there wasn't much, not everyone has a laptop at home, so that they would do this and then expand the reach of everyone, even the rural provinces in Thailand. So the content was available for everybody. Okay, so but at the same time, very similar to our situation as well. The parents were expected to guide their children as the teacher's assistant, but we all struggle with that. The parents struggle with that. And at the same time, when the students are at home, they are not experts in the topics that they are going through. They struggle with the homework as well. Not everyone is able to teach their child in this whatever subject that was taught. Okay. So at the same time, the teacher also provided technical and educational support to the families as well, whether or not they go down to the houses or maybe through a phone call. So what are the issues that these students face? Okay, one thing is that the Thai teachers over at the rural communities, they scramble to upload their online content. I think, again, very similar to whatever happened in 2020 for us all. A lot of people are unprepared, a lot of people are untrained, but then they had to do it, no choice. No formal training was given, and then that is where the Thai students will eventually be left out. So not all students have the means to be engaged in distance learning, just televised through, but at the same time, the students are quote unquote expected to go to online resources to get their homeworks, to get their things. And it was very difficult for them to get across. And the research that this group has done is that they saw that there were families that were actually sharing one device among like 5 children. So it was very difficult for the family to manage. Every child needs to learn, but you only have one device. So it was very difficult for all of them. And purchasing these things, whether or not it's a laptop or smartphone, can be very costly to this particular family itself. But it was necessary to continue their education. So this was the struggle. And some of the rural areas that students need to walk 4 km to the nearest community learning center to use the internet access over there. It was difficult for all of them. So these were some of the struggles that they faced. Unprepared families, of course, definitely additional stress that are upon them, and also they need to oversee the learning progress. Again, not everyone is at the best of all their subjects, and it's very difficult for the family members. They have to provide financial, physical, and emotional needs of the family, and now with the educational needs of the kids. And then, of course, at the same time, when the families are together a bit more, there was also a rise in domestic violence and also problems within their work and school, lashing out on the kids. And these are unfavorable environments for the children to continue learning. Okay, so this is where we come to the solution itself, where this group of boys actually came out with. Okay, so this is the assessment that the group of boys came out. So the boys wrote down, okay, the Thai Education Board cannot assume that everyone has access to both televised and online content. And affordable laptops or tablets can be issued, like for example, the PLD that the boys are having now in Singapore. And maybe for the external organizations, for example, like Learning Coin or Action Aid Thailand or Thaiban Association can step in to actually give sponsors or funding for these devices for their learning. And also something that the boys also researched on is the tutoring part. Okay, the tutoring whereby yeah, I think studies do show that tutoring is a lot more effective as compared to maybe a large size lecture kind of style. Okay, and that's where I think this group of boys came up that that the teachers maybe can be assigned specific household. It's just an idea from their heads. That's where they can form a small tutor group. Maybe like one teacher take care of 5 houses, maybe 10 children, for example, lah. Things like that. And they came up with that, something that you can still continue your SMM measures, but at the same time, the boys' learning not compromised, lah. Okay, and that's where it comes to the conclusion. So this group of boys wrote down there the conclusion, right? It's more, I would see it's more like the risk assessment, the pros and cons, bringing out the pros and cons. So this is something that they wrote, there has to be better appreciation of the situation, for the rural provinces, so that you make solutions that are specifically targeted for this community. So this one is for them to understand that the education minister needs to know that what is really going on on the ground, and the differences to access on the online content can actually will actually just widen the learning progress of the urban kids and the rural kids. So that's where they are pushing for the partnership of the external organizations to actually fund or to actually sponsor your tech devices for them to learn. Okay, and I think this one it is for the government also to understand that in order for tutoring to happen effectively, that's where they need to empower the teachers to actually be well skilled, whether or not in online or whether or not in the ways that they teach in their methodology. So these are just some of the pros and cons that they weighed out lah. Okay. Yeah. So at the end of it, it's just an annex and references. These are just the websites that they have taken from. A lot of them are from news websites. A lot of them are from like Straits Times or like UN or UNICEF organizations, things like that. Again, it's also for us to vet through lah. Again, like if you see boys taking from Wikipedia, you should probably delete it okay? Unless you check the reference source itself. In Wikipedia, again, everyone can go in there and just amend things accordingly lah. So it may not be the best reference point itself. Okay, so this is just a scoring that if we were to base it on the project itself, it will be how well the research was done. If from whatever that this presentation slide has shown, right, that this research was done clearly to show of the issues of this community itself, I think it did lah. Okay. Second one, whether how well does the solution fit and help the community on the selected topic. Yeah, I think for us is that when we take a look at the solutions, they are not far-fetched. They are attainable. They are realistic. Okay, even though boys may propose like a radical solution, but we will see whether or not really it works lah. If it makes sense to us, we will go for it. How sustainable is the given solution? If the teachers were to travel to the houses itself, yes, sustainable for the students to learn. Okay, yes. Okay, but sustainable for the teachers to continue on for 2 or 3 years, I don't know lah. Okay, but I think when we target about the student wise, okay, it probably works. Okay, how well did the group weigh the pros and cons about the proposed solutions? I guess it is something that they have identified. For this case, I think it identified more of the pros, to show that these methods do work, and these methods are something that that really can be considered maybe by the government itself. And also for the cons, maybe they should have write down a bit more about the COVID spread and whatnot. But if your groups of 5, groups of 10, maybe it's more manageable. So this is how we would actually use the rubrics to actually score. So this was one of the projects that passed last year. So that's why we are using it as well. Okay. Yeah, so I think now maybe we just have a time of Q&A. Understand that quite a number of y'all would definitely have questions, and I will try my best to answer. But if not, maybe Felisa can help to answer as well. Okay, thank you. We will just double check on the current questions that have been typed in the Q&A. So if you do have questions, please write them down, so that we can take a look at them as well.
Jiaming, so there is one question by Sherman. Whether do you use this guide to your boys doing physical face-to-face parades, or is it just communicated virtually to all boys?
Okay. Yeah, I think definitely you. Oh, sorry. I think definitely can use it two ways. When I was going through with my boys, unfortunately at that period of time it was online. When I was going through with my boys, before I go through the project with my boys, right, at the back of my head, it will be definitely it will be a lot easier if it's face to face, because that's where I can straight away answer the question. I can straight away look at what they are researching on. I can straight away see whether or not what kind of sources that they take or what kind of conclusions that they have. But of course, that is for the physical part lah. However, I find it quite interesting as well. I find it quite yeah, I think it surprised me lah. My boys surprised me. I don't know why. Okay, when I went through it together with my boys online, I think we took like 3 or 4 sessions to complete the content online. So what I do is that if I have that 1 hour or 1.5 hours with my boys online, what I do is that I use Google Slides to actually portion them out. How I guide my boys is that I would split 2 parts. For first part is research, second part is solutions. So each boy would have to find one research, one background one website on the background or the community. So if I have a group of 5 already, right? If I have a group of 5 boys, I will ask one boy to find two research websites. Then afterwards, right, they will already when they add all together, they already got 10 reliable resources lah. And that's where I think it's not too bad already. If you want a bit more, you can ask your boys to find 3. That's for the research part. Then for the solutions part, I will ask them again to find 2. What are some solutions that the boys can think of? What are some of the articles that maybe can back up the method to solve their issue. So I think for the presentation that I just shared just now, I think for that particular group of boys probably understood a bit more about tutoring. I know that there are research papers that actually showed what tutoring can be. Tutoring can be more effective, in terms of teaching the students in their education journey lah. Yeah, so this guide, I would think it can be used both physical parade, but of course physical it could be a lot easier lah, because you can straight away curate the things that they do. If it's from nonsense websites, then hey, delete lah, go and find another one. Yeah. But of course the online have its merits as well. So what I will do is that I will ask them to present their ideas one by one, so that everyone speaks, everyone participate. Yeah, so that's the method that I use, and I find it quite effective. Yeah, and also at the same time, I'm also quite surprised that my boys came out with quite mature things. Yeah, that's for me.
Okay, thank you, Jiaming. So I think there are a number of questions as well for GA. Maybe we'll just go down the line to answer. There's one question: can the topic for master level be the same as the topic used for advanced level? Definitely, for sure. We actually strongly encourage that, because they have done so much work for the advanced level, right? It doesn't make sense to let it all go to waste, because it can be the same as well, to be used for the master level. So in a way, boys don't have to start from scratch all over again. Okay, so that's done. Question regarding Master GA, award is based on presentation with materials rather than having to perform the actual presentation. Yes, as well. We do not really require boys to present to us like an oral presentation, no. So we just need the end product will do for the committee to actually assess lah. And if there are any boys on the borderline zone, we're just going to make it very upfront right now. We might ask them to present in front of us instead. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So if they are clear-cut pass, we won't ask them to have an oral presentation. But however, if they're sitting on the borderline passing, then we will ask them to present to us again. So I mean, we also want to exercise grace as well to the boys who might find it a bit challenging in completing this master level. Okay, yes, Boys Brigade in Singapore would like to answer this question. I haven't answered, right? Okay, great. Okay, next. This one, I need, Elijah, could you help me to answer Isaac's question? If the boys have citizenship 2 from 32A, will that translate to a GA advanced form? Thank you.
Yeah, so Isaac's question on whether if the current Sec 3s have already citizenship stage 2, that will translate into the Global Awareness Advanced for the new curriculum. However, I would think that your boys will need to level up a little bit more because the requirements or the rigor of the master level project to go for their assessment, as you can already hear from Jiaming, is a little bit higher. So I would also suggest that revising through the lessons that is part of the new curriculum, such as the research skills of global relations. So that will help as they see through with their juniors, the Sec 2 and Sec 1s, that will help them in framing their thoughts and helping the project as they prepare for the master level presentation.
Okay, thank you, Elijah. So the next question by Isaac as well. Is there a plagiarism check for the GA master level project? This is an excellent question. Maybe I will just share with you what I did with my boys last year, because my company was also in the pilot company dealing with GA master. So my boys were Sec 2 last year. I have a range of boys from normal tech, normal acad, and express students. So what we did as a company is that the officers will actually submit it for plagiarism check. So we actually did it actually, even though HQ didn't tell us to, but we did it on our own accord because we wanted the boys to rephrase some of the concepts into their own words. So we actually did that. I think as a committee, I wouldn't want to dictate that to have a plagiarism check on our level. But I think at the company level, you can actually do that with your boys as well. Especially if your boys, that they are highly elite or highly capable. So they should not be plagiarizing anything at all. But however, for the lower progress boys, we might need to help them along. So what I did is that I actually went to facilitate these boys' work quite intently and purposefully as well. Then they will go through with me before they submit it for plagiarism check also. Is that okay with you, Isaac? We on the committee level, we are not going to do that check, but on the company level, you can check it. Okay, that's done. Okay, Jonathan says that the project done by the pilot company sounds very intensive. It's like GP may not be trained to assess like teachers. My officers were not teachers as well. So maybe Jiaming, do you want to share how to assess the work? Thank
assess
you.
the work meaning?
The assess their work, like the rubrics part, is that Gareth, or is that what you're saying?
So I think sorry. I think hold on, I'm trying to maybe combine some of the questions together. So I think it's not so much of whether or not you know GP or not. I mean because I think it's more towards for the boys to do their research, for them to have a better understanding of the community itself. And then that's where for them to find possible viable solutions that can help this particular community itself. So maybe this particular company, the project was a bit intensive and deep. But I think just as long as the officers are able to understand a lot more about the chosen community, and for them to have the time to do some research on. So I think what my boys did, right, it was honestly, it's a lot of copy paste lah. Like you see the website that they post. Maybe for example like Straits Times, what they do is that they just copy the issue that they read, they understood, right? Just copy paste and put in the thing. So what I get them to do is to present it out. Like why do you think why do you choose this article? What does this article say? You know, and for them to start thinking, and then afterwards see how they can frame it into a content that is presentable lah. You know, so I think along the way, definitely there needs to be supervision from the officers, and also to see what are some things that are viable, and what are some things that that the boys can actually use their research skills on lah. Yeah, but I think definitely for all of us here, many of us are quite worried or anxious because this is the first time that many of you are doing. I think even for the pilot companies, we just honestly whack. We just see how it looks like first. So that is where we are. That is where we have this platform to actually share with you from the things that we have consolidated from the pilot companies. We bring them together, the experiences that they had, or even the resources that they have created their own. You know, and that's where we bring them all together to have this guide for all of us to follow, the suggested guide for us to follow. And also if your company, you know, if your company or your officers or you yourself understand, you know, how to move forward in this direction, then you can also, you know, go ahead with how the boys can actually practice these skills that they have learned, and also to mesh them all together, then create content that is presentable. Yeah. So
I think
Jiamin,
I think, Jiamin, because we are running a little bit short of time, thank you for all the questions. We might not be able to answer all the questions right now, but what we will do is that we will follow up with all these questions. Elijah, do you want to answer some of these questions now? Or do you want to?
Okay, hold on. Let me look through first. Give me a moment.
Okay, so if we are not able to answer your questions now, pardon us, we will follow up with an email to detail all the responses to these questions. Yeah, definitely, we will follow up. Just give us a bit of time. So Elijah, if you have some questions that you want to answer now, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I saw some questions. Is that so the projects that were submitted last year, they were a mixture of schools, their neighborhood schools and things like that. So this is just one example that we managed to pull out. I mean, there are others which I think different levels of students have submitted, and they did pass their master level assessment as well.
Okay, thanks, Jiamin. I'll answer one last question from Joel. In terms of what is expected of the boys for the global awareness basic and advanced for the Form 32. So basically, for the basic level, firstly, it's approved by the captain. What we need to do is just for that, just need to show that the boys have gone through two lessons of the 2 out of the 13 different foci for the global issues. So that's at basic level. For the advanced level, the boys will need to show because it's approved by HQ. We want to see that the boys have completed the 3 keystone modules, which are on research skills, global relations, as well as the social entrepreneurship. So more like introduction. So just providing us with a nominal role and showing when the boys gone through the lessons and they have met the requirements based on the lesson plans, that will be required. So that's adequate for basic and advanced. So I think on the other questions, there are similar groups. So what we can do is we will group them together, and if we will either reply you through email, or if your question is really very pressing, you can just drop us an email, and then we will follow up with that accordingly.